This abandoned and now derelict building was once one of the finest United States Navy medical facilities in operation. Now it sits empty and nearly forgotten as the last World War II-era military hospital left here in the United States. The hospital was designed to last and built of concrete and stucco with a beautiful terracotta roof. The Spanish colonial-style building was completed in 1941, and its original 8 wards were completed in 1942. The main hospital is laid out in a quadrant with a large planned courtyard connecting its 4 main hallways. Beneath this quadrant and the west wards is a large basement matching the hospital's above-ground layout. This basement extends behind the facility as well. The wards themselves are laid out on each side of the main halls, 4 to the east and 4 to the west. The hospital complex is actually comprised of 33 buildings in total. Building NH61 was the nurses' quarters and at one time held the entire nursing staff for the hospital. NH62 was previously used as a subsistence building as well as additional quarters. In the rear, what is now the Low Country Innovation Center, building NH68, can be found. This had previously been the supply warehouse for all hospital supplies, blood storage, and equipment. These subsistence buildings had even had their own rail systems to ferret supplies directly from the port to the complex. Starting at the right of the main hospital entrance, we come around to building NH47, the surgical and emergency ward. This large opening beneath the sunroom would accommodate ambulances. The large door in between NH47 and NH49 was the original ambulatory care entrance and emergency entrance into the hospital itself. The basement of the main building and building NH47 were designed to quickly move patients into the surgical and emergency section with large open hallways. While this particular wing originally contained the surgical department, the original operating rooms have since been turned into various forms of administration and offices. Only the tile wall coverings and the stain-resistant flooring remain. The next ward was utilized as the genitourinary ward for most of the ward. Following this building would have been the ear, eyes, nose, and throat doctors, as well as the facility's dental offices. The final ward on the west side was for dependents and family of military personnel. At the end of this ward, near the junction to original building NH46, housed the service and supply elevator, access to the basement supply center, the laundry room, and the boilers for the building's heating system, generation, as well as power. All vital hospital machinery was contained in one large area. Beneath building NH46 was also the building's maintenance department and additional equipment storage. Coming around the east side from the back of the facility is the contagious ward, where patients were quarantined and kept for observation. Following this is the neuropsychotic ward, which was utilized to analyze and treat soldiers and family alike across 3 separate eras of psychological treatment procedures, ending with shell-shocked soldiers returning from the Vietnam War. During the peak of the Cold War, this particular ward was refitted and turned into Maritime Defense Zone Sector 6. This room processed and distributed key information about our naval activities from across the world for the entire Southeastern Division of the Navy. The upcoming building was a General Medical Ward, and then the original front face of the facility is completed by the Sick Officers' Quarters, which is interestingly enough where President John F. Kennedy had been treated during World War II for an aggravated back injury. All of this is just what we are able to see here today. During the 1940s, an additional 10 wards were built, 5 on each side, extending from the rear of the facility in what is now just a field. These wards were demolished in the early 1960s. There used to be a water tower that served the entire complex, however it was demolished in 2013, even though it was found to contribute to the historical district. Where we now have an empty field and parking lot used to be building number 1137, which was the facility's original emergency services and surgical ward, was located not far to the right of NH-61. The original pump house and boiler room for the complex was located here as well. Surrounding the hospital itself are the original officers' quarters, which still exist to this day. These homes were constructed between 1937 and 1945. The doctors and medical staff lived and worked all within this 94-acre lot and contributed to an almost self-sufficient community. In its heyday, this complex was one of the most advanced medical facilities in the United States and contributed greatly to our success across multiple wars. While the hospital complex has received its historical preservation status, this does not stop this fascinating place from being lost to history. We certainly hope it will remain in place for years to come.